today I want to talk to you about the one thing that happens to everyone as long as you're alive. As long as we're alive and even afterwards. This one thing is a constant. This one thing is designed to produce change, which is the constant. What is that one thing? Warriors face it more than anyone else, perhaps. And that constant is, as long as you're alive, you must face challenges. Now, in the average man's world, challenges devolve into problems. Problems. It's a problem. Seeing something as a problem is a very different. Your assemblage point is set in a very different place. It's the place of the victim. And seeing something as a challenge, your perception, your assemblage point is set in a very different place. It is the place of people who cannot afford to be victims. So first, that has to be clear. Same situation, two different responses. Now here's where I'd like you to be aware of a particular kind of thinking that if your assemblage point is set in the victim side, this thinking will manifest. Watch out for it, observe it, laugh it off. Don't indulge in it. You know what that thinking is? It's very subtle, very insidious. It doesn't come as the big boo-hoo victim. It won't. It'll come as this. You'll heave a sigh, and then the thought, if only. If only, and then fill in the blank with your favorite complaint. That isn't so. That you wish wasn't so. If only fill in the blank wasn't as it wasn't so. Have you noticed that? This one is far more of a killer of spirit. It produces lethargy in the spirit. It produces lack of momentum. It will not allow you to rest. It comes promising rest from your travails and tribulations. If only. It comes promising as if you'll find some relief by following this line of thinking. It doesn't. It won't give you any rest. All it'll give you is increasing amounts of what will eventually result in what the average man calls depression. No one knows what that word actually means because it's an energetic state of being. But there are many interpretations attached to that word now, so that it's become a big, the big bogeyman word, right? So beware of you. Again, it's not like now you have to make a religion out of never thinking if only, never thinking that. No, that's not how it works. Just observe. Beware of indulging. You can have ice cream, but indulging in ice cream is a completely different proposition. Not indulging in ice cream does not mean you never have ice cream ever, right? That's not how it works. So remember, be a bit, don't be so black and white with, don't be so immature with knowledge. Knowledge won't show you mercy because you were immature with it. With knowledge, you must be very switched on, very mature. So make sure you don't indulge in the if only scenarios. If only I don't have any money. If only my parents had more money, they would have given me more money. I thought that for years. But just see how disempowering it really is. What has my parents having lots of money got to do with my ability to manifest magical wealth and abundance and plentiful resources? Now here's where the warrior switches it around, and you can do it too. When you've had enough of if only, switch it around like this. My favorite one is my turn. That's what I say to my challenges. Every challenge comes suddenly, most of the time, and it comes like a barrage of blows, right? And you're just busy, just like covering up, and the blows are coming, and you don't have the time to do anything else. Then slowly you adjust to that challenge being there in your life. You adjust to it. And for me personally, once I get that breathing space of adjustment where I can just assess the challenge calmly, the blows have stopped, or at least ceased for a while maybe, or slowed down. That's when the if only scenario is the most tempting to run down that road. Oh, if only, those were the days. That's one of my favorite, if I'm not careful, that one can really take you on a road. Those were the days. But it is not nourishing to the soul. Again, don't prevent yourself, but don't indulge in it either. Observe when you feel, okay, this is getting a bit too much. Those were the days, if only. Switch it around to, okay, talk to the challenge. Say to the challenge, okay, is this all you got? My turn. That's my favorite way. I recommend aim to get at least 5 responses that come from your spirit according to your predilection. Some people have a very quiet approach, steady approach. Then the responses will be the same towards the challenge. But come up with your own way to respond, because if you don't, you will really struggle at the point when you need to have a strong response in place. That's not the time to be confused and struggling. Oh, no. You need to have a strong rehearsed response in place that you can immediately use when a challenge comes, or when you have breathing space from that challenge. Start with one of your favorite ones. Sometimes some challenges require a real, really? Is this all you can do? Fine, watch me. Some really strong, fiery response, because that's just what it requires. Other times, like mostly for me, I'm so used to dealing with challenges consciously, deliberately, and overcoming them, coming out the winner pretty much every time. And the whole movement from challenge to making it profitable for me, useful for me, making it into a hugely advantageous situation, and for which I arrive at great gratitude and thankfulness in due course of time. That whole journey, I've done it so many times in my life now, consciously, that when it comes, I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what's happening, and I don't lose my cool. I don't go into if only. There's no need. I know what's happening. I know this journey. And so you need to become like that. You need to be proficient in dealing with your challenges. So I've given you an example of how one of my favorite responses. It is the first time I read an interview back in the 80s, no, late 80s, in a magazine. Arnold Schwarzenegger said a quote, the interviewee asked him, how do you deal with challenges in life? And he said, I have just one thought about all that. He said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And I suppose, 18 years old, 17 years old at the time. First time I ever heard it, and it was so poetic and so, like, such a good quote. I love those kind of things that you can really remember. And I said, this works for me. I can make this useful. And I stuck by it. So all my responses to any challenge are born from adopting that axiom: when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And if I fancy myself to be a tough guy, then let's see evidence of that. Right? Practice this deliberately, consciously. Start with one of your favorite responses. My one, yet again, is, all right, my turn. Come up with your own. You can use this one. And aim to have 5 responses. You should have enough experience repeatedly overcoming challenges consciously and deliberately. That's the main bit. Not just rolling around like a rudderless boat in the sea storm. Consciously and challenging, managing the storm in the sea like an expert sailor. And over time, you will come up with 3, 4, 5 different responses of different levels, categories of punch that will serve you well in life. All right, I hope this has been useful to you. Let me know in the comments what you think about the content of the video. If you have any similar feedback about your own insights about this topic, let me know in the comments as well. And I will see you in the next video. Walk in freedom. Farewell.